Thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited that I get the pleasure of getting to help these loved ones with their missing. Welcome to my new podcast titled Unsolved Ramblings. Here I ramble and speculate about unsolved cases in hopes of shedding light so that these families can stop waiting for answers and finally get some closure. Every family deserves to know what happened to their loved one. Join me each week for new cases, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Before we dive right in, I'd like to state that I am not an expert and that this is for entertainment purposes. All of my information comes from research of what has been published online and Sarah's mother. All sources are linked in the description of this video. Today's case is a weird one. Sarah Elizabeth Burton of Joplin, Missouri went missing on July 17th of 2018, and at the time she disappeared, Sarah was 28 years old. She is described as a Caucasian female, standing at 5'7", weighing anywhere between 120 to 170 pounds. She has brown hair and blue eyes. She disappeared and has never been heard from again. Sarah's family reports that she has not been active on social media, and they feel that it's out of character that she didn't contact them or hasn't contacted them. Sarah was born on February 22nd, 1990, to Stephanie and Ronald Burton. Sarah had a seemingly normal childhood. She is described as good-hearted and a wonderful person to be around. Friends close to Sarah stated she always had a smile on her face. In high school, Sarah was a cheerleader and known as a great student academically. She was even placed in the Gifted Students program at Joplin High. Sources stated that Sarah is a very sociable person and has always had a lot of friends. After graduation is where things start to take a turn in Sarah's life. Unfortunately, like so many other young kids, Sarah suffered from an addiction to methamphetamine. She got herself involved in several altercations with law enforcement. She was arrested for unlawful use of drug paraphernalia, theft or stealing of less than $500, and possession of a controlled substance. She served several days in county jail and ultimately landed herself in prison for a 3-year stretch. After Sarah was released from prison, her mother stated in several interviews that Sarah was determined and headstrong to get her life back on track. And at the time of her disappearance, her 2 young sons were the ages of 3 years old and 8 months old. Sarah's mother said that she landed a steady job and stayed clean for about a year, until troubles with the father of her children led her to slipping into her old habits again. When Sarah went missing, she was awaiting placement into a long-term rehab treatment facility. Due to the stressful events in her life, she had relapsed. It is unknown if the stressful events are related to the fact that Sarah was currently out on bail for several pending charges. You know, guys, not wanting to say anything bad about Sarah, but it did seem as if she was having a hard time getting her life straight. I don't know, but I can speculate that the reason is due to the circle of people that she was still hanging out with. She just couldn't keep herself out of trouble because she had new charges that were theft of a motor vehicle, drug possession, and trafficking stolen identities. Her lawyer had stated in several articles that I read that she had been working on a defense to get Sarah a suspended sentence. But guys, she'd already been to prison once for drugs and stealing, and then here we go again, we've got more charges for stealing and drugs. It just doesn't seem likely to me that her lawyer would have gotten her a suspended sentence for these charges, being that Sarah was a 2-time offender. Not trying to say anything bad about her. Could it be possible that Sarah left because she didn't want to go back to prison? Sarah went missing just after midnight on July 17th of 2018, when, according to her friend, Sarah asked to be dropped off near the location of 10th and Rex. They parted ways near a business on Rangeline Road. Sarah stated she could walk the rest of the way to her parents' home. A few days later, that same friend contacted the Burtons because Sarah had left a shoe and her purse in the friend's car. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that to me is the most suspicious part about this case. I have never left one shoe behind in someone's car, no matter how wasted I was. I've never left a shoe behind in someone's car, especially if I planned on walking to a different location than where I'm getting out of the car at. There is not a lot of information about the purse and the shoe that the friend returned to her parents 4 days after Sarah went missing. So it is unclear as to why they were left behind or the circumstances surrounding them. I do wish there was more information because, as I said, it is suspicious to me. I find it very odd that Sarah had planned on walking but left a shoe behind. Unless she had a bag of extra clothes that she was carrying, and that's why she left her shoe in her purse. Like one fell out of the bag or something, and she just didn't grab the purse or thought she had her purse and didn't grab it. I don't know. Very, very suspicious. Not wanting to say anything bad about anybody, but why did Sarah's friend wait 4 days to try to contact Sarah's parents? Did she spend the 3 days previous trying to get a hold of Sarah and just couldn't? And that's why on the 4th day she contacted her parents to return the shoe? It doesn't really matter because this is the moment when Sarah's mother decided to go ahead and report her missing on July 20th of 2018. Sarah's friend dropping her off near 10th and Rex Avenue was known to be the last time Sarah was seen. Her cell phone was used for the last time in that same area. Sarah's friend states that the last time she seen Sarah was near a range line business in an alleyway off of 10th and Rex Avenue, walking towards her parents' home. But Sarah would never arrive home. And when questioned about it, the last time Sarah's parents had seen her was on July 8th. So that's 9 days before Sarah actually disappeared. On July 8th, Ron, Sarah's father, had helped her purchase a car. Now it's unclear whether the car was purchased that day or if it was like the few days before that. But Ron helped her register the vehicle with the Department of Motor Vehicles on that day, on July 8th. Sarah's parents found out later that on July 11th, Sarah wrecked that car in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Her parents believed that she might have been avoiding them until she figured out what to do next. I mean, that's pretty likely, guys. I don't know about you, but if my parents bought me a car and helped me register it, paid for all that stuff, and then 3 days later, I wrecked it out of state, oh yeah, I'd be avoiding my parents too. Law officials believed that the last time Sarah was seen was by that friend just after midnight when she dropped her off. And they did believe that until September of 2018, 3 months after Sarah went missing, and that's when they announced that there had been an update to her last seen location. Authorities stated that she had been seen after she'd been dropped off by the friend. They said that Sarah was seen at a residential home in the 100 block of North Pearl Avenue in Joplin, Missouri, in the early morning hours of July 17th, 2018. Although officials did not give out any further details, they did state that Sarah had no access to a vehicle to transport herself from 10th and Rex to North Pearl Avenue. That is several blocks across town. So you have to ask yourself, how did she get several blocks across town without a vehicle and with what I am only speculating is a missing shoe? I personally am not walking several blocks without my shoes on. She had her phone, so maybe, just maybe, she could have called for a ride to go over there, because the report said that her phone was last used at 10th and Rex. But to me, it doesn't make sense that she had her phone but not her purse, and that she's walking around with only one shoe on. Some of it is just not, again, I'm speculating about the one shoe, but that part, it just keeps sticking out in my mind. Fast forward to a couple of months in December of 2018, when the police released a statement stating that they had executed searches in the last known residence located in that 100 block north of Pearl Avenue, as well as 2 surrounding vacant lots of the area that she was last known to be seen during those early morning hours. 2 days later, after they searched that property on North Pearl Avenue, they searched another property in Pittsburgh, Kansas. That was searched for Sarah. I mean, it was searched in relation to her disappearance. And the property consisted of a home, 2 outbuildings, and the surrounding land. Now, the authorities, they did not release any information about the searches conducted at either location, but Sarah's mother did note in an interview that I found in an article that the police did search the properties more than once, and that they did have a potential suspect at that time. They didn't release any information on who the suspect was, but as far as I know, no one's been charged or arrested in any connection to Sarah's disappearance. Sarah's children's father was incarcerated at the time of Sarah's disappearance, so he was quickly eliminated as a suspect. There were comments and posts on both Sarah and her children's father's social media pages, making it seem as if there were some serious issues between the two of them. But again, he was eliminated as a suspect because he was incarcerated. 9 months after Sarah disappeared, in April of 2019, another search was conducted just west of the Joplin area. The search was initially due to a drug-related investigation, which involved several law enforcement agencies: the FBI, the Ozarks Drug Enforcement Team, the Newton County Sheriff's Department, and the Missouri State Highway Patrol Diving Team. The search lasted several days, during which items found on the property led investigators to believe that there could be a connection to Sarah's disappearance. Officials did not disclose any details regarding the evidence that they obtained in their searches, but they did note that they are awaiting results of tests from the evidence that they collected. They sent it to the FBI's crime lab. I want to know what they found. I want to know what it was that led them to believe that there was a connection with Sarah. Now let's go back. The agencies that they used were the FBI, the Ozarks Drug Enforcement Team, the Newton County Sheriff's Department, and the Missouri State Highway Patrol Diving Team. So that tells me that they definitely combed a body of water. What did they find? What did they send off to the FBI's crime lab? According to the Joplin Globe, several people gathered in Mercy Park on July 17th of 2019 to hold a candlelit vigil for the first anniversary of Sarah's disappearance. During that vigil, there were prayers and tears from people in the community that love and care about Sarah. Shannon Phillips said, "Someone out there knows something." Sarah's parents spoke at the vigil. They talked about how hard the last year of their lives had been, not knowing what happened to their daughter, which is every parent's worst nightmare. Of course they are having a hard time with it. Their daughter is missing. The mother of their grandsons is missing. They have no answers. They have no closure. Nothing. Of course, it's the hardest thing in their lives. Nobody ever expects their kid to go missing. Everybody always assumes nothing bad could ever happen to them. During the vigil, they did speak out about the gratitude that they have for all the people concerned and praying for Sarah. They stated that it is the people who are concerned and praying for Sarah that gives them hope that no one will ever stop looking for her. Someone will always want some answers. Sarah's father, Ron, spoke about not knowing anything and how that makes the pain worse every single day. Despite the pain, he still does hold out hope that Sarah will return home safely. He ended by saying that the police department and the family urge anyone who knows anything to come forward. He also stated that they will continue to work together with the police department and they will never stop searching for Sarah. They are desperate for information in this case. The FBI is offering a $5,000 reward for any information that might lead to Sarah's whereabouts or an arrest in the case. It is still an open missing persons investigation. Sarah is listed on several missing persons websites. Sarah's case has been featured on several local news stations and on their social media platforms such as Joplin News First by Shannon Becker on Facebook. Unfortunately, it's been 5 years since Sarah disappeared without a trace, and her mother released the following statement regarding this horrible anniversary. Stephanie stated, "Sarah's disappearance is no celebration of any kind." She went on to say that they have no closure, and Sarah's little boys need their mother, or they need to know what happened to her. They deserve to have answers. Sarah's mother fears that her daughter is dead. However, both parents are clinging to hope that Sarah will come home safely. If you have any information that could lead to Sarah's whereabouts, please contact the Joplin Police Department at 417-623-3131. I was able to open a line of communication with Sarah's mom, Stephanie. Stephanie did give me permission to highlight her daughter's case. She stated not knowing what happened to Sarah is like living a daily hell. Like so many other cases I have researched, it is so hard to get law enforcement to look for someone that is believed to be missing if there is no foul play suspected. Law enforcement does have a job to do, and it can be difficult when people who know information won't speak up in fear of the impact it might have on themselves. So what do you think happened to Sarah? Where do you think she went? Did she just run away? Is she a fugitive of the law running from her charges? Did someone hurt her? How does someone just disappear? I have been following this case for a long time, and I would love to get more exposure for Sarah. Her family and friends deserve to know what happened to her. Please, if you have any information or you know anything regarding this case, contact the proper authorities and let's help her family get some closure. All right, guys, so that is going to wrap up this week's podcast on Sarah Burton. It has been 5 years, and they are still searching for Sarah. Join me next week as I ramble about the case of Susan Osborne and Evan Chartran. Remember, friends, it is up to you to like, share, and subscribe. Help me bring more attention to these cases so these families can be that much closer to getting some answers. Thank you for listening, and as always, ramble on.